Hey folks, guns, gear, and on-target training out here in Oregon. Today, we are going to talk about some buffoonery that is going on at the ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. In their infinite wisdom, the ATF has decided that anyone who owns a pistol with a stabilizing brace shouldn't own it. And they want to restrict my rights as a handicapped citizen and your rights as legal gun owners not to have a pistol with a brace on it. I hope you're as frustrated and upset as I am about this. If you are, right, do not sit by. Call your congressman, call your senators, call the White House. Express in a respectful manner that you fundamentally disagree with this approach and you consider it an attack on your Second Amendment rights. The way that they are proposing to manage this is through a series of very convoluted and arbitrary assessments of what makes a pistol. And one of the fascinating things I found in reading it is almost all of the things they talk about relate to shooting or defining a pistol as something you shoot one-handed. I don't know about you, but I know that for me, almost every time I shoot a pistol, with the exception of certain types of training that require me to use a non-dominant grip or a dominant grip pistol only in a retention technique or something like that, I've always got two hands on the pistol every single time. They're also obsessed with length and weight. And then this horrible little thing called a stabilizing brace. Well, as a handicapped individual, I can tell you that when I shoot with my left hand, which is not particularly strong, I've got fused bones in my arm. My elbow essentially does not look like any kind of elbow. I have arthritis and I have very limited mobility. So having the brace and being able to attach the brace to my forearm of my left hand, my handicapped hand, I'm able to do some things with a brace pistol that I couldn't if the brace weren't there. So we have to ask ourselves, why would the ATF want to get involved in this? And there's no compelling reason other than for political reasons, and so the government can make millions, tens of millions of firearms owners who own brace pistols felons. And the goal, of course, ultimately is restriction on your Second Amendment rights, registration, because they want to make all of these pistols NFA items requiring a 6 to 8 month process, a $200 tax stamp, and a registration. Now, for me, I'm fortunate in that I have the means and I already own some NFA items. Right? So I've gone through the process. It's not difficult, it's just extremely expensive and time consuming. And what the ATF wants to do, using arbitrary rules, like whether or not the brace pistol has sights, because if it has sights, then that's a point that they add up, because they're using a point system to determine arbitrarily what makes a pistol and what makes it something that they, BAFTE, should have control of. So I want to share with you 2 pages of their evaluation. 2-page spreadsheet that applies a point system and then certain requirements about what the weight should be, and somehow magically 64 ounces, because to them, a 64-ounce pistol, anything greater than that, could not be held one-handed. Now, again, to me, there are plenty of people who can hold a 64-ounce pistol one-handed. I just don't happen to be one of them because of this. Then it goes through a bunch of things. Not based on a known shoulder stock design. I don't know what that means whatsoever. And I think the ATF is trying to be as arbitrary as possible to make sure that manufacturers and gun owners are not in compliance so they can shut them down or potentially arrest them. So it's an intimidation factor. Incorporates a shoulder stock design or features. Again, don't know what that means. Based on a known shoulder stock design. Again, don't know what that means, but each one of these things is a point against you. Device incorporates features to prevent use of a shouldering device. That gets you 0 points. Again, I don't know what that is. I don't know what you can say. You can look at a certain pistol. If you're using a pistol and it's an AR, it requires a buffer tube if it's using a gas and pinch system, and that buffer has to move. So if the buffer tube is there, does that count as a pistol? Because theoretically, if someone touched it to their shoulder, would the ATF then determine that that is in fact a shouldering device? No clue. This is a great one, and this is a 3-point negative. Material added to increase rear surface for shouldering. Material added. Well, based on that, the SBA-3 tactical brace that I just showed you on that 9mm pistol, would that have too much material, making it a 3-point hit? Or would this AKV design, I think it has less material, so is this okay? I don't know. And it's not clear, again, who makes the decision other than the ATF deciding unilaterally that one, for all I know, that is too much. Because if I potentially shouldered it, oh my gosh, that would make the gun terrible and would instantly qualify it as an NFA item requiring registration, $200 tax stamp, and just its plain out hassle, 6 to 8 months going through the jumps bureaucratically for the government to give me permission to own a pistol that I'm not doing anything illegal with. So one of the other interesting ones is they don't want the length of the brace to be changed, which again, the idea of the brace is to be able to attach it to your forearm, and the length of my left forearm, because of its issues, is shorter than my right forearm. So if in its collapse length, it almost works, although 1 notch out makes it a little better. On my right arm though, 3 notches out works best. These are 3 clicks on the brace, extending the brace. And it goes on and on. And the score then is added up, and if the score is too much, it becomes a other weapon, SBR. I'm not quite sure how the definition is because, quite frankly, this is all just absolute ridiculous buffoonery to me. This is just insane. So what can you do? And this is super important. In the link here, in the description, is a link that you can go to the DOJ site and voice your opinion about the arbitrary nature of this proposed factoring criteria. Man, bureaucrats with way too much time on their hands. So they're creating spreadsheets looking to restrict our rights, and they're not focusing on actually going after, which I think would be every legal gun owner would support this, and every legal FFL would support this. Go after the FFLs who are breaking the law. Go after the people who break the law. Not me. So what can you do? You can do this one thing. You can go to the DOJ website and you can fill out in writing your concerns. What's wrong with it, how it impacts you, whatever you want to say. You want to say it respectfully. You do not want to swear or insult anyone. The majority of the people who work at ATF are just folks who are trying to do their jobs. Then there are a few bureaucrats who are political in nature, and they can't wait to show their power. Because ultimately, this is about power. Government intruding on my individual rights and your individual rights because they want power. And they don't trust an armed citizenry who have abided by the law and done everything legally, gone through background checks, done everything. What they want to do is intimidate you and me and other folks who are legally purchasing firearms and using them in a safe, responsible way because they want control. So please, write your senator, write your congressman, even if they're left-leaning folks who don't like guns, voice your opinion. Also, go on that DOJ website, fill out your objection, and register yourself as someone who's saying no. The last time ATF came up with proposed brace regulations was in December, and they got over 100,000 people commenting, the majority of whom are saying no. There are over 10 million braces in the United States, so people have pistols with braces on them. If we could get 10%, that's 1 million people, to write in and say this is ridiculous and it is not acceptable for a regulating agency to try to pass laws, which only Congress can do, through the application of BS criteria. I hope you're as frustrated and upset as I am about this. If you are, right, do not sit by. Call your congressman, call your senators, call the White House. Express in a respectful manner that you fundamentally disagree with this approach and you consider it an attack on your Second Amendment rights. Well, guys, that's my rant for today, but man, I am upset. We've got to do something about this. I hope you'll join me. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Finally, and as always, stay safe.